Well, hello again, guys, for 1984. Alright then, let's start out with The Amazing Spider-Man. Last year left off with the Thunderball regaining his powers. And in the first issue of Amazing Spider-Man in the year 1984, number 248, and he strikes like a thunderball. Also known as the Kid Who Collects Spider-Man. This issue has two stories. Both of them are about 11 pages. And the first one, Spider-Man battles Thunderball and wins. Now the other one, The Kid Who Collects Spider-Man, is considered to be one of the top 10 Spider-Man stories ever by almost anybody who makes such a list. It's like, usually you find this and the Juggernaut story. Those are two of the big ones that are on everybody's lists. But what's it about? Somebody writes an article about a kid who collects articles, film reels, and memorabilia about Spider-Man. Spider-Man then goes to visit him. He tells him all about how he came to be Spider-Man, why he fights crime, and how his web shooters work. Then the kid asks him who he really is. Spider-Man hesitates, but then takes off his mask and says he's Peter Parker, and that he took most of the pictures the kid collected of Spider-Man. The kid finds it hilarious that Jameson pays Peter to take pictures of himself. Peter tells him that he can't tell anybody, and as Spider-Man leaves, we see he's exiting from the cancer ward of the hospital. And then from an excerpt of the article written about the kid that we see broken up throughout the story, we find out that he has leukemia, and his wish is to meet Spider-Man and talk to him for a few minutes. We also find out that he only has a few weeks to live. So, I would say that I don't agree that it's one of the best Spider-Man stories. I mean, it's mostly pretty mediocre up until when you find out that he has cancer. But even then, it feels like it's just a cheap twist to get tears. Sorry. It was alright, though. Moving on. Spectacular Spider-Man. Last year, Hobgoblin proved his strength against Spider-Man and defeated him. Then he flew off to return and fight another day. Now, number 86 of Spectacular Spider-Man, Bugs. For this issue, they had Fred Hembeck, who is a parody artist, draw almost the entire issue. And you know what? He stinks, and I don't like him. Seriously, though, his art style was that of something more along the lines of Archie. Just didn't work for Spider-Man at all. I realize it was a one-time thing, and most comics at the time probably had him guest draw an issue, but it severely hindered my enjoyance of the issue. And let's get on with what the issue's actually about. Alright. Spider-Man is still wary of letting the Black Cat share his nighttime adventures due to the fact that she could die. But he decides to let her into his life completely. No secrets. And he takes her to the Daily Bugle to show her where he works. But the Fly swoops in and attacks Jonah for turning him into a bug. Something which happened in an annual a long, long time ago. Spider-Man rushes in and fights him and beats him, and then he swings off with Black Cat to show her where he lives. Number 87, Mistaken Identities. Spider-Man takes Black Cat to his apartment and takes off his mask, showing her that he's Peter Parker. She's very disappointed in his Peter Parker identity and how boring it is, and she wants him to put the mask back on. They fight some thieves together, and it's fun. And then they start swinging back to her place. Number 88, Hide and Seek. Mr. Hyde wants to kill Cobra. Spider-Man tries to fight them, but Black Cat gets in the way and Spider-Man nearly dies. As long as she doesn't have superpowers, Black Cat will be a liability and will only make things more difficult for Spider-Man during his fights. Issue number 89, Power Search. The Black Cat goes on a search for superpowers so she can assist Spider-Man instead of hindering him. The Kingpin agrees to help her. He just enhances her natural cat-like abilities using one of Stillwell's devices. And she acquires cat-like swiftness and, agility and all that. And then whoever tries to harm her is dealt bad luck, just like a black cat. And, yeah. Kingpin wants her to destroy Spider-Man, but he doesn't ask her to. I assume her bad luck is supposed to befall him or something. Supposed to affect him in some way, probably, without her knowing it or him knowing it. This issue ends the same as number 251 of Amazing Spider-Man of this year, and leads into a limited series called The Secret Wars, but I'll get into that later, once we get to that issue of Amazing Spider-Man. Anyway, 249 of Amazing Spider-Man, Secrets. First thing, this issue starts out with one of the worst things in Spider-Man history. Peter is at a party wearing cut-off jean shorts, really short, and a t-shirt, black t-shirt that comes up past his belly button that says animal on it. Why? Anyway, the Hobgoblin blackmails a bunch of people using the info he got from Norman Osborn's journals. Spider-Man fights Hobgoblin, but gets knocked out with some spider sense killing gas. Kingpin wants to help Spider-Man defeat Hobgoblin because Hobgoblin might interfere with his business later. So, there you go. Number 250, Confessions. It says on the splash page, possibly the best issue of Spider-Man ever. Verbatim, that's what it says. And it's not quite the masterpiece that they claim. It's not bad by any means, but I would not say it's one of the best by any stretch of the imagination. Anyway, Spider-Man tracks down Hobgoblin and fights him until there's a huge explosion. Jameson types up a confession saying that he was responsible for creating the Scorpion and sends it to be printed on page 1. Issue number 251, Endings. As the warehouse burns down, Hobgoblin drives out in his armored van. Spider-Man hitches a ride and fights Hobby until they crash into the Hudson River. The van self-destructs, and there's no trace of Hobgoblin save for his mask. Jameson steps down as editor-in-chief of the Daily Bugle, but remains publisher. Spider-Man is led into Central Park to some big structure that carries him into another galaxy to partake in an adventure that takes place in a miniseries called Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars. And just to give you a little synopsis of the entire Secret Wars series, there's like 12 issues or something. It's basically a guy called Beyonder places a bunch of superheroes and supervillains on a planet in a distant galaxy and makes them battle each other. And Spider-Man's costume gets really torn up, so he goes into the costume room on the ship and doesn't use the right machine and accidentally grabs the symbiote which spreads over his body and creates a black suit. So there you go. That's the Secret Wars. All right. Then issue 252 of Amazing Spider-Man, Homecoming. Spider-Man comes home from the Secret Wars in a new black suit. He realizes that it obeys his thoughts. Now, issue 90 of Spectacular Spider-Man. Where, oh where, has my Spider-Man gone? The Black Cat searches for the missing Spider-Man due to the Secret Wars, and she's not quite sure about telling him about her newly acquired powers, and he finally catches up to her outside Aunt May's house, and she ends up not telling him about her powers. Issue 91, If It Wasn't for Bad Luck. The Black Cat proves her new abilities during a fight against the Blob. Spider-Man accepts her desire to fight alongside him despite his fear for her safety. Issue number 253 of Amazing Spider-Man, By Myself Betrayed. A football star is throwing games for a guy who calls himself Rose. He decides he doesn't want to do it anymore. Rose doesn't like that. Spider-Man defeats Rose and his goons. Also, Spider-Man realizes that he has an endless supply of webbing with his new alien suit. Peter tells Aunt May that he dropped out of college, and she absolutely freaks out. Issue 254 of Amazing Spider-Man, With Great Power. ... No great responsibility. The Hobgoblin's battle van is pulled out of the river, but gets hijacked as it's being transported. Spider-Man goes to investigate and finds out that Jack-O-Lantern was responsible for the hijacking. He questions the connection between Jack-O-Lantern and the Hobgoblin, but Jack gets away. Peter attempts to patch things up with Aunt May, who is so distraught after finding out he quit college, but it's no use. She doesn't even give him a single chance to even give her some kind of logical reason why it might have been a good idea to drop out, which he never said was permanent, just a temporary dropout of needing to figure she stinks and I don't like her. Issue number 92 of Spectacular Spider-Man, and the answer is: a new villain called The Answer fights Spider-Man and the Black Cat and wins the fight, and reports to Kingpin his observations about Spider-Man and the Black Cat's powers, as well as Spidey's new costume. Issue number 255 of Amazing Spider-Man, Even a Ghost Can Fear the Night. Red Ghost has a machine called the Cosmicizer that will increase his powers. Spider-Man finds his hideout and destroys the machine. Red Ghost and his super monkeys escape, as always. Issue number 93 of Spectacular Spider-Man, A Hot Time in the Old Morgue Tonight. Spider-Man and the Black Cat are having relationship problems. He's growing more and more upset about her weird aversion to Peter Parker, and The Answer steals some body of some crime boss from the morgue. Issue number 256 of Amazing Spider-Man, introducing Puma. Spidey's new suit keeps attaching to him while he's asleep and makes him go out. And he's unaware that this happens. Spider-Man beats up some thugs in a warehouse. Rose, upset at Spider-Man's repeated interference with his operations, hires Puma to kill him. Puma attacks him. Spidey dislocates his shoulder trying to cling to a wall during a fall, leaving him open for Puma's attack. Also, MJ kind of looks like a whore in this issue. And I just kind of get this sense from MJ that maybe she is a little bit of a whore. I don't know. The more I read this, the more I don't like MJ is a love interest. Anyway, issue number 257 of Amazing Spider-Man. Beware the Claws of Puma. The Black Cat saves Spider-Man from Puma. Later, MJ visits Peter, but Puma attacks him and their fight leads outside. Puma is in a position to kill Spider-Man, but feels he deserves a better death and leaves. Kingpin tells Rose that he can't kill Spider-Man yet. Peter returns to his apartment. MJ tells him she knows he's Spider-Man and has known for years. Issue number 258 of Amazing Spider-Man. The Sinister Secret of Spider-Man's New Costume. Spider-Man has his suit examined by Reed Richards of the Fantastic Four and discovers that it's not some alien material like he thought, but an actual alien symbiote that bonds with him physically and mentally, i.e., it's alive. Spider-Man tries to take the suit off, but can't. Richards blasts it with a sonic blast gun, and it leaps off Spidey, and then they trap it in a container. Rose teams up with the Hobgoblin to take down Spider-Man and the Kingpin. Issue number 94 of Spectacular Spider-Man. How you gonna keep them down at the morgue after they've seen New York City? Flash is acting weird. Shashan is worried. Kingpin reanimates Silvermane's robot corpse, and Spider-Man tries to stop it, but can't. He crawls into Black Cat's apartment, beaten and battered, saying they need to find Dagger. Issue number 95 of Spectacular Spider-Man. The Dagger at the End of the Tunnel. Dagger is losing her light and feeling weak. Silvermane's reanimated robot corpse can feel that his life force from before is somehow in Dagger, because she killed him with her light daggers. He finds her and tries to take the light back. Spider-Man, Black Cat, and Cloak all try to save her from Silvermane. The Answer swoops down and steals Dagger to take her to the Kingpin to help his dying wife. Kingpin's dying wife. Silvermane leaps into Cloak's darkness and they teleport away. Issue number 96, The Final Answer. Black Cat tells Spider-Man that Dagger is at Kingpin's headquarters. Cloak grows weaker without his hunger for light being fed. Answer takes Dagger to Kingpin. Silvermane follows Dagger to get back his light. Spider-Man and Black Cat show up. Dagger is nearly dead, so the Answer transfers all of his light to her, and in doing so kills himself. Dagger has an excess of light and gives Silvermane back his light and gives Cloak enough to stop his hunger. Kingpin's wife dies, and he's very upset. Issue number 97, Hermitage. A man with a gift for solving problems is forced to help a crime boss commit perfect crimes. Spider-Man stops them. Things between the Black Cat and Spider-Man are still rocky. Spidey's symbiote suit is cleverer than Reed Richards originally thought. It's trying to escape from containment. Issue number 259 of Amazing Spider-Man. All My Pasts Remembered. Mary Jane tells Peter all about her troubled past. His abusive father, abandoning her single mother sister, etc. The Hobgoblin threatens local gambling rackets into giving him a percentage of their profits. Spider-Man prepares for battle against him after finding out about this. And the amazing annual, The Scorpion Takes a Bride. J. Jonah Jameson is finally marrying Marla Madison, his girlfriend of many years. Scorpion hears about this and wants revenge. He breaks out of jail and kidnaps Jameson's son, John, and then kidnaps Marla. Then Spider-Man comes along and takes Scorpion down. Jameson and Marla get married. And in the spectacular annual for 1984, Memory Lane, Aunt May has been receiving letters from an old flame that makes her go out at night. She meets up with him and he's still in love. She isn't, and she brings him to his senses. Also, there's a mini story at the end about Spider-Man and Black Cat having a quiet night at home that leads to antics when an old burglar friend of the Black Cat steals a present that the Black Cat just got from Spider-Man. So, yeah. Now, overall, the year wasn't particularly awesome. Yes, there was the introduction of the black suit, but the actual issues themselves weren't that great. So I'm gonna have to give it it has good ideas, but not good execution, if we will. Stories maybe were good. Scripts maybe weren't good. I don't know. Something. I think most of the issues I gave 3s out of 5s. You know, I mean, they weren't bad. They were just nothing special. So we'll see how future stories go here with the return of the black suit and everything. So should be interesting. But yeah, the year 1984 receives a letter grade of D, 65%. I hate to give that to the year that introduced the black suit, but just can't argue with the numbers. So I will see you next time.